In America today, the topic of drug legalization and reform is an ever growing point of debate in this country that leaves many people to wonder if this is the right or wrong step for our country. I'm here to tell you today that drug reform that has occurred in Oregon and in a few cities around the United States can help revolutionize the public health in America for the better. Recently, Oregon became the first state to decriminalize small possession crimes of certain drugs, among other things, through ballot measure 109 and ballot measure 110. The passing of ballot 110 supported making personal, non commercial possession of a controlled substance no more than a Class E violation, max fine of $100, and establishing a drug addiction treatment and recovery program funded solely in part by the state's marijuana tax revenue and state prison savings. The overall concept behind this is to stop putting people in jail for small drug crimes and instead put in place fines and required rehab time if caught again. All this will be funded through state marijuana tax, which means taxes won't even increase if these would be put in place nationwide if marijuana is also legalized in that state. Right now in America, overdoses involving prescription and illicit opioids take the lives of 128 people every day, according to the CDC in 2020. That number so far during the past year of COVID is expected to double due to the high rate of opioid abuse during the pandemic. What many researchers believe will occur with more lax laws on drugs is that people will become more comfortable with actually seeking help since the person won't have a risk of facing jail time or a record, as well as hopefully decreasing the drug violence issue at the same time. Drug possession is the most arrested offense in the United States, with one arrest every 23 seconds, Puerto Rico 2020. In total, drug possession charges take up 1/5 of all prison space in the United States. In total, $80 billion gets pumped into the jail system each year through taxpayers' dollars. By decriminalizing small drug possession, the jail population in America will drop, hurting the for-profit system that the jails and government have made through mass incarceration. With that, people can see a decrease in the amount of taxes they pay to state prisons. On top of that, billions upon billions of dollars have been pumped into state and local law enforcement since the war on drugs has began to help combat drugs, all of which has shown to have very little effect and been a big waste of billions of dollars. Oregon, though, did more than just decriminalize certain substances, but they also legalized psilocybin-assisted therapy through ballot 109, which could be a big hit for large pharmaceutical companies. The mental health epidemic around the world is continuously getting worse, with no hope to be found. Over 1 in 4 people around the world will be affected by some sort of mental health issue at some point in their life. That means millions and millions of people each year who are suffering silently with little or no solution to their pain. While at the same time, big pharmaceutical companies are profiting billions off the sales of antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications that have statistically shown to do very little and help very few. The main effect of many of their pills, such as Zoloft and Prozac, decrease brain activity where the thoughts and feelings are supposed to occur in your brain. How is the numbing of people's brains to feel less emotions a solution to their depression and anxiety? To me, it just seems like putting a bandage over a gaping wound, just waiting for the person to bleed out while charging them month after month for that new bandage. For over 3 decades, the pharmaceutical industry has been successful at convincing us that illnesses such as depression and anxiety, not to mention normal human emotions such as sadness, shyness, and stress, can all be alleviated through a pill. Unfortunately, the psychiatric field has allowed itself to be influenced by these companies and have failed to fully question the scientific merits of those psychoactive drugs which they have been prescribing for 3 decades. Big Pharma gives the APA, the American Psychiatric Association, at least 25% of the revenue they receive. And many people in Big Pharma work for the APA, according to Psychological Today in 2020. Thankfully, as Oregon became the first state to legalize psilocybin-assisted therapy, we might soon start to see a real positive change in the culture of treating mental health. Microdosing psilocybin-assisted therapy alongside a qualified psychiatrist has shown to not just decrease anxiety and depression in the majority of the recipients, but has shown hope of breaking addiction at an 80% success rate, according to the Johns Hopkins Medical Journal. What scientists believe that happens is that microdosing mixes up your brain connections that you have made to certain emotional things. When doctors use brain scans to analyze the effects on the brain, they notice decreased blood flow and activation in areas associated with stress and fear. It is shown to stabilize parts of the brain associated with depression. This is the exact opposite of which many pills such as Zoloft and Prozac do, which is numb your brain. On top of that, actually positively treating people's mental health, on top of actually positively treating people's mental health, there have been no recorded side effects associated with microdosing psilocybin whatsoever. For many people, the idea of accepting drugs as something that could be used for a positive source probably sounds crazy to a large majority of Americans. But we need to defeat that stigma that all drugs are bad and can only hurt you. The science and facts showed that drugs like psilocybin can help treat people better than any manufactured drug on the market today. Hopefully, though, as marijuana becomes legalized around the country, people will start becoming more attuned to seeing how drugs can have positive benefits on people, and realize the good that it can do for local states and the areas around them. Currently, Oregon sits in last place for drug overdoses in the country. So Oregon has almost used itself as a test subject to show the whole nation on how improvements can be made on the side of drug abuse within public health. If more states were to follow suit, the American society as a whole could see a night and day difference in places with high overdose rates as well as suicide rates. The whole idea of the ballots that were based in Oregon were to help the people there and not to make money. The state saw a genuine issue and have created possibly one of the best approaches to drug reform in American history. You can see less Americans dying each year from overdose and suicide. We will see less people in jail away from their families due to small possession crimes, especially in black communities where many black kids have no fathers due to them being taken away during the drug wars. You will see less anxiety and depressed-ridden society, and this can lead to improvements in almost every sector in life. If you're able to help just 1/3 of mental health patients in America, that's millions and millions of people who now live a better and happier life because drugs aren't always something to be afraid of. And sometimes drugs can help people. And in this case, they could help change the entire world.